I'm not gonna lie to you niggas, man. I think there genuinely might be something wrong with my body. I can't sleep, but you know, the show must go on. Got a big cup of coffee and we're gonna one take Jake this right now. I don't know how many of you niggas can relate to this or if it's something that only starts to happen after you turn 18, but in 2025, it feels like gambling is just an inescapable part of just being alive. It genuinely feels like not that long ago, gambling was something that was seen as extremely taboo and not meant to be promoted to children. It was rightfully seen as an extremely dangerous vice, and thusly it was reserved for the most disgusting dregs of humanity. But now more than ever, it feels like as a society we've just fully normalized gambling. For starters, gambling broadly as a category has been renamed from gambling to gaming, which is already fucking insane. But even more insane than that is that we as a society have decided that it's perfectly fine and normal to further gamify this vice. Gacha games have been around for as long as I've been around, at least. I even played some of them, like Limbus Company, but I think the release of Genshin Impact in 2020 really showed every single facet of the gaming space just how profitable gacha can be as a medium. And I fear that as much as I hate it, Roblox was no exception. Because on Roblox, the issue isn't just a few loot boxes tucked into games. Gambling has insidiously rooted itself into almost every facet of Roblox, and in a lot of cases, gambling itself is just the game. You don't pull on a slot machine, you spin a wheel for a race, and you don't buy scratch-off tickets, you re-roll for an ability. The mechanics of it and what you're actually doing are identical, but it's wrapped in this kid-friendly packaging that makes it seem completely innocuous. But when you think about who's actually playing Roblox, aka young kids and teenagers, it starts to feel less harmless very quickly. In a lot of ways, Roblox has become kind of a training ground for gambling. It teaches players the exact same risk and reward cycles that casinos rely on without any of the guardrails that exist in real life. It's gambling but with a little fun sticker slapped on it, and I fear that that's a dangerous precedent to set for the next generation. Today, I want to take the time to talk about gambling on the Roblox platform, some of the more insidious ways it's been implemented into games on a broad scale, and how we as a platform, but also as a community, can fix it in the short term, because it would genuinely suck if a major government stepped in and fixed it for us. So if that's a topic that interests you at all, make sure you like and subscribe to the Noble channel. Join my Discord. My Discord is dead. We're gonna revive the Discord. It's gonna be so lit. Join the Discord right now. It's in the description. Join the Discord. And without further ado, let's get into the content.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not gonna lie to you niggas. Talking about gambling on Roblox is weird to do, at least for me, because just generally as a person, I'm not really in a position to be lecturing anybody. You know, I dabble in the gamble from time to time. You know, I'm something of a degenerate gambler myself. But on that same note, I think it also puts me in a somewhat unique position to cover Roblox gambling. At least when it comes to shitty gamified Roblox gambling, I've kind of seen it all. From shitty top-heavy spin systems to RNG games. And honestly, it's the spin systems that I want to start with today, because at least in my opinion, they're the most dangerous. Not because they're the most predatory outright, but because they've been fully normalized on this platform just due to how long they've been around. They're thinly veiled as a system of progression and a simple way to unlock new abilities or races, but the actual mechanics are identical to a slot machine. The only real difference is instead of chasing sevens, cherries, and lucky duckies, you're chasing flashy transformations or a new form. And that's what makes these systems so insidious. They don't look like gambling, but they sure as fuck feel like gambling, and kids end up engaging with these systems long before they ever step foot into a casino. The first real major issue with spin systems, in my opinion, is that they fuck up reward systems and player expectations by replacing progression with RNG. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, in most games worth their salt, the majority of unlockable content is unlocked simply by playing the game. You get better gear by finishing quests, you unlock new characters by meeting certain milestones, and you improve because you've put in the time and effort. It's a straight line. You play more, you unlock more, and you get stronger. Spin systems flip that whole idea on its head though. Instead of your progress being tied to your actual effort as a player, it's tied to chance. You could literally spend hours grinding for spins and still walk away with nothing. And at the same time, some random dickhead could log in and get the rarest thing in the game in their first 30 seconds of playing. And that kind of model completely warps the expectations as a player, because suddenly you're not being rewarded for playing well or playing for a long time, you're being rewarded for being lucky. And the worst part about that design is that it doesn't just kill fair progression, it teaches players to accept unfairness as the status quo. It plants the idea in your mind that no matter how much effort you put in, there's always a chance, if not a very high chance, that it won't matter at all, which ironically is exactly how casinos condition you to think. Instead of building a sense of achievement, spin systems build a tolerance for frustration. They train you to believe that the next spin could finally be the one, and that's genuinely a very dangerous mindset for kids to grow up with. Once you've invested enough time or Robux into chasing that rare pull though, that frustration also starts turning to something even worse, and it becomes a cycle that you can't easily walk away from. And this is where spin systems start to really overlap with the mentality of gambling through something that we call sunk cost fallacy. Basically what this means is that the more that you've already put into the system, the harder it is to justify quitting, because you don't want to feel like your time, effort, or frankly your money was wasted. Roblox spin systems weaponize that exact same logic. If you spend your entire weekend grinding for spins and you still haven't landed that rare race, clan, or buncha that you want, you don't really feel like quitting. You actually feel the opposite. You feel like you have to keep going. Otherwise, all that time you spent grinding those spins will amount to and mean literally nothing. And if you've already bought spins of Robux, that feeling is even stronger, because suddenly it's not just your time that you're wasting, it's your money too. These games set up a feeling of inevitability, like you're bound to hit the jackpot eventually, and that's the exact loop that casinos thrive on, convincing you that just one more pull will finally be the jackpot. And when you think about kids and teenagers, people who don't yet have the life experience to recognize that they're a victim of sunk cost fallacy, it's easy to see how quickly this can spiral into something genuinely addictive. Between broken progression, sunk cost loops, and pay to escape frustration, spin systems are pretty much a perfect example of gambling hiding in plain sight on Roblox. They're subtle enough that most people don't even recognize that they're gambling, but effective enough that they keep players locked into the same addictive cycles that casinos rely on. And if spin systems are dangerous because of how normalized they've become on the platform, then these blatant gambling simulators like Souls RNG are dangerous because of how direct they are. There's no pretense of progression, no attempt to like dress it up in a fancy kind of coat of paint. It's straight up just gambling, and Roblox lets kids play this fucking slop every day. Take Souls RNG for example. The entire game is just an automated slot machine. You sit there while the game spins aura after aura for you over and over again, endlessly waiting for something good to pop up. Most of the time you're not even actively waiting, you just leave the game on and go do something else. There's no skill, no challenge, no real sense of progress, just straight up gambling packaged as gameplay. And then you've got games like Fish, which is basically just the same fucking thing but with a fishing minigame. Sure, it can feel a little bit more interactive if you're a fucking robot, but at the end of the day, it's still just a fucking slot machine. The only difference is that you're casting a line instead of pulling a fucking lever. And this exact same busted ass mentality bleeds into other genres too. Look at the anime tower defense games like Anime Vanguards or Anime Adventures. These games don't just have one slot machine, they have like fucking 50. You're gambling for traits, then you're gambling again for shinies, and then you're gambling again for fucking secret units. It's just gambling on top of gambling on top of gambling. And it's designed deliberately this way so that players never feel like they're done. Some people will like point to pity systems as like a potential solution to this issue. They'll be like, oh, don't worry, you're actually guaranteed the unit after fucking X amount of pulls. But like, the pity doesn't actually fix the issue, it just shifts the goalpost. Instead of just chasing luck, now you're grinding or paying until you hit a guaranteed jackpot. That doesn't make it less like gambling though, it just puts an arbitrary cap on the amount of gambling you have to do. And the outcome is the exact fucking same. Players get strung along, spending time or money in the hopes of finally landing that shiny that they've been chasing forever. The shitty thing about it all though is that people will try to act and pretend like this is somehow different than a casino because it's just a game. But if you've ever stepped foot into a casino, the similarities are extremely jarring and almost impossible to ignore. Spin systems are just slot machines. The flashing colors, the rare drops, the maybe next time loop. It's the exact same fucking psychology that casinos have been weaponizing for decades. Pity systems are just a guaranteed jackpot cycle, which is something that casinos have also been doing for fucking decades. Even the fake little near misses you get when you roll something almost rare serve the same purpose as missing your jackpot by one fucking cherry at a casino. The only real difference is that casinos are at least legally required to admit what they are. Roblox doesn't call this gambling, it calls it content, and it packages it for kids. I think I've made my point pretty clear about Roblox gambling and how insidious it can be, but before I go, I want to take some time to offer potential solutions to the growing gambling problem we're seeing on the platform. Like I said earlier, gambling on a kid's platform isn't just bad because it promotes bad habits, It's also bad because it teaches kids to accept unfairness as the standard. An easy fix to this is simply to stop tying progression and abilities to gambling and instead tie them to gameplay. I think games on the platform that actually do an excellent job at this are GPO and Heian. As much as I hate a lot of what GPO did and represented for the platform, one thing GPO got right was ability acquisition. If you wanted something in GPO, you had to put in the time and the effort to get it. And that led to the grind feeling incredibly satisfying for the people who actually did it. Heian, as a contemporary example, is also great. Most, if not all of the curse techniques in the game are obtained through a quest, which is fucking awesome. In most JJK games, if you don't get legendary rarity limitless off spawn by spinning, you're basically hoed off rip. Heian, by not utilizing rarities or spins for abilities, allows itself much more space to balance curse techniques properly and allows players the actual freedom to play the game without worrying about spinning techniques on 4 different alt accounts. These games, at least in my opinion, are the gold standard when it comes to circumventing spin systems. But if you must have them in your game for one reason or another, I think an example of a game that handles spin systems in a way that respects the player is Deep Woken. In Deep Woken, the only thing that you have to spin for is your race or your aspect if you're woke, and they all have extremely minimal effects on your gameplay. And if you take the time to unlock an in-game perk called multifaceted, the impact of your race is even smaller. If spin systems must exist as a necessary evil for developers to make money, then I believe at the very least what they can do is make the impact of the things you have to spin for as small as possible. That way the player's time and money is respected, and the interaction with these RNG spin systems is as minimal as possible. And as for the games that are literally just gambling, just nuke them into orbit, get rid of them. That's how I would personally fix Roblox's gambling problem. Leave your own suggestions on how to fix the problem down below, because I genuinely am curious if I'm off base here, or if this is as big of an issue as I think that it is. With that being said though, have a blessed day. Like and subscribe to the Noble channel. Join my Discord. My Discord is so dead. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be so lit when it's revived. Join my Discord. It's linked down below. Free Palestine, back to coding, and I'll see y'all later.